Welcome to Deep Dive Film School. I'm Adam Sherlock.
And I'm Adam Pulcher.
And if you like what you see / hear, please like and subscribe. You can find us in all the spaces and places that people
find good media. That's right. We're very active on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So join us there. You can also join me on Letterboxd, Adam Pulcher. All the links are in the description below. Okay.
Hey, Pulcher.
What?
Dig on this.
Man. I don't even know where to start with this one.
I'm so glad we're doing this. This is that one scene, as we said in the last episode, that destroyed a franchise. This is the movie's not great. I mean, the Spider-Man 3 is not a great movie anyway. This is 2007. Is this
2007? Right? Sam Raimi.
Yep, and it's not
directed.
Not a great movie anyway. But this is definitely the scene that I think people laughed, and not because it was trying to be funny. Although I will say I think that might be debatable. But let's get into this.
Maybe they are, and that is. Here's my problem. I'm just gonna have to unload a little bit here. And,
let's go, man.
And vent.
Because, this is a safe space.
Because I've always hated these movies. Me and your wife saw the first one together, and afterwards,
when they were dating,
afterwards we were just like, "That was the stupidest movie I've ever seen," and we were laughing about it. And I really don't like the first one. It's really bad. I mean, Willem Dafoe looks like a Power Ranger.
There are some total
the second
Power Ranger
one
parts, yeah.
is only saved by an amazing Alfred Molina performance, and it's still just whatever. I'm not a huge Kirsten Dunst person. Tobey Maguire is fine, but I really, and this comes back. I'm rolling this all around. Is this debatably funny or not? But I think I really feel like Raimi might be a overrated director, because I really hate these. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness will go a long way. But when was the last movie that you saw of his that you were like, oh shit, maybe Drag Me to Hell? But I just hate, and this is my own personal preference, I am just not a fan of his campiness. And I know some of the comedy and of what they're doing here is inside of the comic as well, right? So there's part of it, but it's just like, it's way too cheesy and campy for my taste. Like, give me Carpenter all day over his, give me that campiness over what Raimi does. And it's just, I think he is trying to be funny, because Army of Darkness is fucking hilarious.
Right.
Like, I know he has the sense of humor, and he has his little tropes that he does, and you're like, oh, that's so Raimi.
Oh, he loves a good whip zoom.
Yeah.
He loves a whip zoom. And he has ever since Evil Dead 1, right? And I think
that's my like, I hate these movies anyways, and this scene is like the epitome of the shittiness of these movies.
Well, and I think that I think you're right. And about a lot of that. I like Raimi as a director.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
But I think that he is campy. I think he's incredibly campy. I think if you go back and you watch something like Dark Man, even some of those moments from Drag Me to Hell, really campy. I think that, you can see him do something different. You look at something like A Simple Plan. I think is a fantastic film.
That's one I love.
But I agree with that. I think he has a deep love of that sort of trauma style silliness,
and that's okay. It's just not my thing. So, but it's part of the reason I've always disliked this trilogy in particular. Yeah. Obviously, you said Spider-Man killed the franchise. They did make multiple other ones, and obviously ended up rolling that into a Marvel role as well. And those ones are obviously a little more bearable.
Sure, but if you think about it, we're talking about, but when Spider-Man 1 came out, I believe it's before X-Men came out. Like, I think it's right around there, yeah. Right? So it's
X-Men was pretty early.
So we're talking about a real franchise building idea around these comic book movies with big time actors in it, right? And like, they're really doing this thing. And I mean, Ebert said that Spider-Man 1 was the best comic book movie since Superman 1976. Okay. So, and then the second one was even better, right? And like, people legitimately thought that it was like one of the best comic book movies ever made, right? And so
Spider-Man 1?
2.
Oh, okay.
So
what about Burton's Batman?
I'm just saying, in the research that I've done, I know that this was a thing, right? And I agree. Like, I think that the Batman movies are really good. I think when I say on purpose of it being silly is I don't even mean this is where it gets weird. Okay, so
Let's hear it.
let's set up the premise here, right? So, uh,
Venom basically attaches
Venom
itself.
basically he gets the symbiotic suit, and the alien that makes up the black suit starts to affect him. Now, Venom as a character that was created in the 80s got massively huge in the 90s, right? It was like the thing, and it totally makes sense why it was such a
Sure.
big thing, because it's so late 80s, early 90s edgy edgelord silliness, right? Of like the black suit and the goo and the big fangs and all that stuff. Well, apparently they shoehorned in,
I mean, it's my chess piece.
right? I wish we both had like Hot Topic Venom t-shirts that we could have worn for this episode. But you know, it's like the producers shoehorned this in. So Raimi wanted more than anything. He just wanted Sandman as the main villain of the third one, which is still stupid. I'm not saying that's a good idea.
We'll get to that.
It's still stupid, but then
He wrote the movie and okay, go.
so it's still stupid, but he didn't want to use Venom because he just didn't like the character. He didn't really get it. He didn't know why they wanted to do it. And the producer was like, no, Venom is. So now your movie has like 4 bad guys or some shit,
true.
right? It's just off the rails anyway. And so then when it comes to this idea of like, okay, and it's inhabiting Peter Parker and it's turning him evil, right? We remember this from Superman 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had Christopher Reeves with a 5 o'clock shadow in a dirty Superman suit, like drinking beers or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But bringing all the bad and the fear up, you know, and making him more irrational,
right?
And violent, and
right.
And
you're like the premise of it like makes sense. Like the superhero turns evil.
Well,
it's a classic twist on a comic book arc, right?
Yes, he gives a doctor a piece of this too, and he's on the phone with him during this scene. And basically say it amplifies characters of its host. Foreshadowing.
Well, I wonder what's going to happen. But here's where I'm getting to of it potentially being on purpose. But it doesn't make it any better. It actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
Is that the montage that we're talking about that is this Peter Parker gone evil? If you follow the train of logic that I believe Raimi did, is that Peter Parker is the biggest fucking nerd of a superhero that ever existed, right? He was never cool. He was a big old fat nerd when he was in high school, right?
Sure.
He probably doesn't listen to cool music. He loves science. Like he's a big old fucking dork. So if the dork turns quote unquote into the bad guy and it heightens all that, then what's Peter Parker's version of being really bad? And it's like, it's shit like swing dancing, and it's shit like him doing finger guns at people. Because if you watch the sequence again, as cringy as it is, everyone else in the sequence is also cringing.
I agree.
None of those women think
Me
that
included.
he's cool. But here's the problem. I'm like, when I watched it,
he's cool.
and I was like, oh, this could have been such a great joke. But if it also embarrasses us, then it doesn't matter if it works.
I know. I wrote down, if I saw this person on the street, I would avoid them like the plague.
Right.
Right. You know, it's like that secondhand embarrassment. Right?
Yeah, but it's so strong. It's so strong that it blinds us from the fact that the movie's doing it on purpose. Right. Like that makes it so much worse. It's like The Mask. Right. It's like, yeah, we know that Stanley Ipkiss, Jim Carrey's character loves old, Tex Avery cartoons. And so that's who he becomes in the movie. But if we also are embarrassed by it, then like, it doesn't matter the joke that you were trying to tell us.
With you.
We're laughing at you. Right. And and everybody laughed at this movie in this moment because it's so cringe-inducing,
so bad, and it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
in the movie, and I say it comes out of nowhere. I mean, they are building up to this a little bit. He did give him that, and we do see him.
But we didn't know it was going to be a music montage.
No. That's the part that that is kind of the most jarring.
Yeah,
where his whole motivation behind this too is that he calls out Topher Grace's character for doctoring photos of Venom and selling them,
and gets him fired. Like that whole storyline disappears.
That's right before this scene.
Yeah, and it goes from like an important storyline to being over in about 10 seconds of like, is this guy going to get his job because he's also a photographer? Oh no, he got fired.
Yeah,
and then the movie just whiplashes to this.
And but then we cut back into it, and he's asking for the job and double the pay and all this stuff, and then he's treating this poor neighbor girl like who's totally in love with him, will do anything he wants, just like completely like shit. But again, so nerdy and
Yeah.
stupid. It's milk and cookies.
Yeah.
That he's like, hey, but you know, you got any cookies? with
Yeah.
nuts?"
You got any cookies I can have with this? This is the problem, is that it's like in a different, if you could see how you could take all those
I see your
pieces
argument.
and you could make it into something that just becomes funny, that this is a nerd's version of being an evil guy.
Elizabeth Banks is all over him too.
Right. And so it still doesn't work. And then fucking
I guess
Howard,
he gets the job.
what's her name?
J.K. Simmons.
Or no, Ron Howard's daughter. What's her name?
Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Mhm.
Like, she doesn't think he's a dork. She does the whole dance number with him. I do love the fact that he went to Mary Jane's work with his new date as a, like, where she's like singing at, I guess, like in the bar. That I'm like, it's the most obvious possible thing you could do to make your ex-girlfriend jealous. But it's like,
He's
it's
strutting down
so-
the street like it's Saturday Night Fever.
yeah, and he's doing a weird side note. Is
Winking, pointing.
Is it purposely, is the dance that Joaquin Phoenix does in The Joker purposely the exact same dance as the one where he's out on the street? Because it's the like pumping, it's the exact same, like, was that on purpose?
I doubt it, but I don't know. I'm not
It's
sure.
the exact same dance. There's been mashups of it online of
really?
both of them standing on that stairwell doing the dance together.
Interesting.
They've like cut him out and put
I
him
haven't
next to
seen that.
Joaquin
That's
Phoenix.
funny.
But I'm like, because it's the same thing. So I'm like, is that just, were they like,
But
yeah,
way darker.
yeah, fuck Spider-Man 3. We're gonna do a send up of it in our show. I don't know.
Give me the dark though
Yeah.
over this. You know, I'm sure it amplifies your host and all of that stuff, but just the whole, this isn't the good old Peter Parker that we
No, he
fell
wants
in love
cookies with his milk.
Yeah, what a bad boy.
It's so embarrassing, but
really is.
it's almost worse because I'm like, I think that they like did Raimi convince him, like, in the scene, like, look, this is that we're playing for nuance. You remember the scene in Donner's Spider-Man or Superman 2 where he's drinking beer, right? It's like that, but we're doing a send up of it because Peter Parker's too good of a character, right? And they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, the
And then-
jazzy instrumental
Oh, it's
stuff
so
too.
bad.
It just seems off here.
I guess that's why I'm comparing it to The Mask, is because of the swing dance music.
Yeah, and I when I listened to that music, I wasn't necessarily thinking swing, but I could see it a little bit.
'Cause he's
as
like,
you're saying that.
double time, because he's again, and it's like a close up. It's so cringing. It's a close up of his finger. They all start snapping, right? And you're like, and he like doesn't he like slides down a chair or some shit, right?
I hate it all.
It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
Last thing I'll say is, and I'm just doing this to get this on record.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with this scene anymore.
Okay.
But the fact that Raimi wrote the Sandman in as the real Uncle Ben killer
Yeah.
is one of the weakest things. It makes me disrespect him a lot.
Right.
Because
He made the first
he
one.
made all three movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he knows what happens in the first one. If it was another director, maybe I would get what they're trying to do a little bit. They want to make it their own thing.
But one guy managed to make worse continuity than like the Star Wars movie.
Terrible.
Like
And then
the Star
one,
Wars
it
reboots.
makes Peter reflect on, I killed the wrong person. And also just like how lazy that is.
Yeah.
Because you want a plot point for your third movie, you write him
Yeah.
in, because once Peter ran off with the guy he thought
Yeah.
hurt him,
Yeah.
he actually got shot. First off, okay, is there no autopsy that says, oh, he got shot?
You know this, and if you were gonna have the symbiote alien elevate an emotional response, it could have been that response.
Yep.
It could have been that he becomes evil.
Or do you hear a gunshot in the background and turn around maybe and be like, whoa, what was that? And then the audacity, this is the worst part, to reshoot the scene
Yeah.
with the same actor who's obviously 10 years older.
Yeah.
This is not what Uncle Ben actually looks like. And so it's just downright terrible. I hate these movies.
The last thing I'll say is that watching a little bit more before and after this sequence, just to get it all kind of in order, the CGI does not age well.
Of the Sandman?
Yeah.
Mm.
it looks like a cutscene from an old Sega Genesis movie, like video game.
I love
It's
Thomas
so-
Hayden Church.
I love him too. He's great, and he looks exactly like the comic book version of the Sandman. I used to collect the Sandman comic or
He's great.
the Spider-Man comics that had him in it. But yeah, these movies didn't age well anyway. But holy shit, this scene is like, talk about not being able to keep track of your own tone of your own movie.
Yeah, like the consistency is all over the
It's
place.
really bad.
And he does have a massive budget here, but he's had budgets before.
Yeah.
Obviously, something like Evil Dead, that famously didn't have a budget, but now that he has money, there's small elements of these movies that are okay, but overall, just
I mean, the emo Peter Parker put him in put Raimi in comic book jail until what, 2022? Is that when the Doctor Strange movie came out that he directed?
Oh, he did.
He did the second one,
Oh,
the multi-dimension of madness or whatever. He did that one.
Oh, okay.
Which you can see again because there's literally
Raimi part.
the zoom, the whip zooms, and there's a dead version of Doctor Strange that even has the teeth like this, so it looks exactly like Darkman.
He's a director that I do like, but not love.
I know we keep coming up with our fake versions for T-shirts if we ever had a merch store and anybody ever wanted to actually.
He's a director.
Yeah, Sam Raimi. He's a director. Adam Pelcher, Deep Dive Film School.
That's right.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for bearing with us through this. Now, hopefully, you know more than you knew half an hour ago about this movie.
Yeah, we'll see. If you have any suggestions for other punishment review scenes, put them in the comments below.
Yep.
Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Join us there. You can also join me on Letterboxd and follow me there at Adam Pelcher. All the links are in the description. And next week, we're going to start a new festival. We're doing Peter Greenaway and Drowning by Numbers from 1998.
1989.
That's what I meant.
See you guys next week.